Hello everybody, this is Ch.3 and welcome back to Neverwinter Nights. Alright, so yep, let's get these henchmen's stories going, so let's talk to Tomi first.
Eh? What can Tomi do for you?
Just want to talk. Have you always been a rogue, Tomi? Funny you should ask that, my lord. I was an urchin on the streets of Calimport first and foremost, and that's where I learned me street smarts, but it wasn't always that way. In fact, when I was a tender young lad, a kindly human wizard saw great promise in me and took me in. I was his apprentice, in fact, for quite some time. That's where I met my best friend Sammy, after all. He was another apprentice. I would have been a full wizard myself if things had worked out. What went wrong? Well, you know, you can take the lad out of the street, but you can't take the street out of the lad. I wasn't much for books and studying and all. That wizard, what was his name? Halisar? He said he saw something in me that I never saw. Said I would make a wizard whether I liked it or not. I thought I would make a wonderful thief if I could be invisible and fly around all the time. I just couldn't wait. Halisar had all these pretty things in his tower, unfortunately. So you stole them? Of course I stole them. What kind of a rogue do you think I am? Got a good price on the streets, too. Even Halisar beat me black and blue by the time I returned. Once I swiped Halisar's spell book and sold that for a pretty price. Boy, was the old man furious. There was a storm brewing around his tower by the time I got back. Of course, I had to lie and say that Sammy took the book. Come to think of it, that's how Sammy got kicked out of his apprenticeship. You got your friend kicked out? Well, he wasn't much of a wizard, and old Sammy wasn't my friend back then anyway. I made it up to him by becoming his pal later, once I stopped being an apprentice. The end of my apprenticeship is quite the story itself. I should tell you that sometime, my lord, if you're interested. That would be later, though. Right now, we've got a city to save, right? Indeed. Alright, let's go with Daelan next.
I've been waiting for you.
Alright.
Yes? Is there something you need?
Talk, and, I wouldn't mind knowing your thoughts on Erebeth's betrayal. Why do you think she did it? There are some who claim Erebeth betrayed Neverwinter out of grief. Others say she seeks to avenge Fenthic's death out of some perverse sense of justice. There are even those who say she was driven mad by Fenthic's execution, and is not aware of what she's doing. But I think something else drives her there now. What do you think her reason is? Neverwinter turned its back on her. Their city rejected her, and its people cast her out. There is no pain so great as being turned away by those you most want to take you in. What are you talking about? They never turned her out. Perhaps not, but Erebeth no doubt felt that they did. The people blamed Fenthic enough to kill him. How could she not feel they despised her as well? And then Lord Nashor sent her to Port Last with Erengend. It was obvious Lord Nashor wanted an excuse to send her away from the city. No doubt he thought it best to calm the people and keep Erebeth from suffering their wrath as Fenthic had, but in her grief she would have seen it as a cold, brutal rejection, a symbolic banishment. Sounds like you think she was justified. I'm not saying what Erebeth did was right, or even justified, but there is a tale among the Uthgard, an ancient legend of consequences and betrayal. Fenthic's execution and Erebeth's betrayal remind me of a tale of my own people. I only hope Neverwinter does not suffer the same fate as the Uthgard. What fate would that be? Perhaps later I will tell you the tale, but now is not the time for me to speak of this. We must focus on finding the words of power for Erengend if we are to save Neverwinter. Alrighty. Sounds like an interesting story. Alright, what about Boddyknock?
You're back, so you must need something. The most logical assumption is that you want me to join up with you again, correct?
Yeah, alright. Guess I didn't need to listen to that, but...
Is there something you need?
Let's talk. I wouldn't mind knowing your thoughts on Erebeth's betrayal. How do you feel about it? Erebeth's betrayal has caused me no amount of confusion. On the one hand, her actions appear irrational and illogical. She has vowed to destroy the city she spent her life protecting. But on the other hand, isn't it logical to assume a warrior will want to revenge the death of her lover? And what about Fenthic's death, which caused this whole mess? His execution made no sense. He was not an enemy of the city, and had he lived, he would have done everything in his power to help Neverwinter to make up for what he had done. What purpose is there in killing a man who is only going to be your ally in the future? Such irrational behavior is difficult for me to understand, Kel. Wow, that actually sounds intelligent. Sometimes people let their emotions rule their actions, and we do foolish things. In Lantan, we bow to the laws of reason and logic. Emotion can never truly can never be truly factored out of any decision, but we do our best to look at the facts with a dispassionate eye before taking action. I suppose in that sense we are quite different from many of the other cultures in Faerun. We will have to familiarize ourselves with these strange lands if we hope to integrate Lantin into mainland society. Integrate? What are you talking about? Lantin is an island, but by geography we are isolated from the rest of the world. Over the centuries this has led to an insular culture, particularly among my people, the gnomes. We consider ourselves safely removed from the troubles of the mainland. We have been fascinated observers of the history of Faerun, as befits our analytical mindset, but we chose not to be active participants in any events. Recently, however, our culture has embarked upon a radical journey of change, a revolutionary shift in our entire belief system. Soon, perhaps even in my own lifetime, Lantin will become an important part of life in the realms. What are you talking about? Some kind of invasion? We are thinkers, inventors, and academics, Kel, not soldiers. We plan to bring our culture and beliefs to Faerun through peaceful means, though we are proceeding in a rational and logical fashion. Before we attempt to introduce ourselves into the existing order, we must study and analyze the current political and cultural realities in an organized and thorough fashion. Could you expect anything less, given our nature? Why the sudden change in ideology? Yes or yes? Ideology. As you can imagine, a revolution of this magnitude must be precipitated by an astonishing event. Without a significant catalyst, there cannot be a significant reaction. In our case, the catalyst is a single wondrous event, the day the god Gond Wonderbringer washed up on the shores of Lantin in mortal form. You're referring to the time of troubles, aren't you? You are right, Kel. I am speaking of the time of troubles, when the gods were forced to take mortal form and walk among us. I would share the tale with you, but the story of Gond Wonderbringer's time on Lantin is a long one, Kel. Perhaps I will speak more of this later, but now is not the time. We need to focus on our mission. We have to get those words of power back to Erengend. Alrighty. Another interesting story. Holy jeez. Is there picking up? What about Grimgnaw?
I have been waiting for you.
Yeah.
Is there something you need?
Let's talk for a while, and I wouldn't mind knowing your thoughts on Erebeth's betrayal. How do you feel about it? I have mixed feelings about the paladin's actions. They say she was driven to her betrayal by the execution of her lover. She could not accept his death, and it drove her mad with grief and a desire for revenge. As a member of the Order of the Long Death, her reaction to an inevitable event seems rather childish. The Silent Lord comes for us all. We might as well learn to accept it. Accepting death is one thing. Having your lover hung right in front of you is something else. Would she have felt better had her lover had his entrails removed by a hungry troll, or had his limbs ripped from their sockets by an angry giant? Or perhaps she would have been less angry had a slow-acting poison drawn him into a sleep from which he would never awaken. Death is death, Kel. My order seeks to help the world understand this. So you disapprove of what she has done? The motives for her actions seem foolish to me, but the results are pleasing. She has brought war to the north. Thousands will die painful, shrieking deaths beneath the blaze she has unleashed. The Silent Lord is eager to feast upon the table Erebeth has set for him, and while death gorges itself on the soldiers and civilians alike, I will be present to bear witness to my master's gluttony. That's a horrible thing to say. You only say that because you do not comprehend the mysteries of the Silent Lord. If you understood the truth of death, you would not find my words so terrible. As a monk of the Long Death, I was subjected to rituals and ceremonies that brought a true appreciation for that which others fear in their ignorance. Torture, pain, suffering, and even death itself. These things are beautiful. I kill when I have to, Grimgnaw, but I doubt I'll ever see anything beautiful in it. You bring destruction wherever you go, Kel. Your motives may be good or evil, but that makes no difference. Death is forever by your side. The Silent Lord has placed his mark upon you. If I could share the experiences of my initiation, you might begin to glimpse some small hint of what death truly means, the only pure, absolute truth in an imperfect existence. So enlighten me. Tell me about your order's rituals. No, Kel, now it is not the time. Eager as you are, I am afraid you are not ready for... Eager as you are, I am afraid you are not ready for the wisdom I would share. Perhaps later I will speak more of this, but not now. But now is not the time. You are not yet ready. Let us return to our mission, for in doing so we will surely spread death throughout the north. Yeah, don't mind me if I'm having trouble speaking. It's about 2 in the morning, and I've had a really long weekend. But I mentioned that I would do my best to record something this weekend, so alas and alack, here I am. Alright, let's talk
I
to
hope
Linu.
that you would... Hey there, dear. What can I do?
Let's talk, what made you decide that you should be a cleric? It's been a long time since someone asked me that question. I came to Sayanine Moonbow when I was very young, which is unusual since my parents were both mages and followers of the god Corellin. It started when I was sent to Daelan Centristi's School for Potentials. You see, both of my parents were deep into the mysteries and held positions of respect. It was assumed that I would take after my parents in the magical arts. What are potentials? All children of gifted wizards in Everesker are sent to special schools as potentials because they are expected to excel in furthering the art of spellcraft. My ability to get into trouble had already started by that age, but my parents had kept it quiet, thinking I would grow out of it. Okay, go on. My first day of classes was a disaster, but I don't think it had anything to do with my ability or spellcasting. I had an insatiable curiosity, and Daelan was a crotchety old master who expected all elven children to be patient, quiet, and orderly. I barely possess those traits now, let alone when I was a child. The master decided to open class with a powerful spell to awe us into submission to his tutelage. He turned his back and I moved in. What do you mean by moved in? I just wanted to look at the spell components. They were very interesting, especially the wonderful gem he had sitting beside the circle. Oh, great. Well, he went to reach for the gem and it wasn't there. The spell misfired, causing him to ooze purple smoke for weeks. So he kicked you out? Daelan was well paid for training us. He didn't kick me out right away, but he never forgave me either. It also wasn't the only accident to befall the class when I was around. Despite all of this, I might still have become a wizardess if it wasn't for the little trip I took. That was an accident that will long be remembered in our fair city. My fate became sealed to my faith in Sayanine that day. What fate would that be? I will have to tell you of my dimension-hopping trip later. We have too much to do right now to tell that tale. We need to find the words of power for Aaron. Yes. Cool. I'm actually really eager about these stories to unfold. Alright, the last one, Sharwyn.
I suspected you'd show up here.
Yes? Is there something you need?
Let's talk, and how about telling me his tale, Sharwyn? You are a bard, after all. I normally save my best tales for taverns with a full audience. Why should I recount a tale only for you, Kel? Because I love listening to your lovely voice. Oh, now you're trying to sweet-talk me, are you? You men are all alike. Butter your words a bit and expect a woman's knees to fold. I'll tell you what, Kel. I'll tell you your tale, if you promise to listen attentively and be a proper audience. Well, I can do that. Well, that's good. I'll hold you to it then. But what story should I tell then? Shall I tell a tale of the great Kel, savior of Neverwinter, and his search for the words of power? I think I know that one. Not like I tell it, believe me. You're probably right, however. The subject matter would be a bit familiar, and I'm a bit fuzzy on the ending. How about the sad tale of the great Lady Erebeth, torn between love and honor, fallen from the grace of Tyr? That's not very funny. You never said you wanted to hear a comedy, Kel. Erebeth's a sad tale. Erebeth's is a sad tale, but no matter, I'll think of something else. How about a tale of the great Lord Nasher, how the man was in his glory days before he became a sad old ruler? How about something original? You're going to be picky, are you? Very well, then. Give me some time to think about it. For now, let's continue with the making of your own tale. Alright, cool. Alright, so obviously I'm going to...
Yes? Is there something you need?
Disband, because why do I need a henchman sucking up all my experience? Alright, so I guess that's all the time I have for this episode, so the next episode, well, we'll find... Actually, that only took one episode. Awesome. I like that. But yeah, I'll head out to Beorunna as well to take our first look at it, and we'll start picking up some more side quests and a few other things that are rather interesting in this town. Alright, so this is Ch.3 signing off. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.